All right, update from the new shop. Got all my stuff now on shelves and my split napping stuff over there. Okay. And I got my new microphone that's working. The only thing I can do is get the sun out of my way. All right, so 5 reasons why you're not getting long flakes. Okay, I'm going to try to explain. The number one thing, no matter how skilled you are, no matter how much practice you have, no matter how good you have developed your skill in one material, if you have bad stone or material, you're not going to get long flakes. And bad stone can include just stuff that doesn't flake well, stuff that doesn't, the stuff that contains internal flaws or existing cracks, and that sort of thing. If you have bad stone, that's the main problem. 2, you don't have enough practice. Very simple. Okay? I don't need to explain that. Number 3, this is where everyone needs a lot more information. Okay, number 3 is when we start getting into the nitty gritty. All right, number 3, you're losing too much energy due to various factors. Okay? And these factors you are able to control. All right? One of these is the abraded edge. You need a well abraded edge, or a properly, quote unquote, abraded edge, or maybe not an abraded edge, but the abraded edge is a consideration. All right? It has to be properly abraded if the situation calls for it. Sometimes you don't need to abrade, and people do abrade, and it causes a loss of energy. How does an abraded edge cause a loss of energy? It causes it because if it's too dull, your energy is trying to go into breaking that tension, it goes into trying to break the initial crack into the stone. If it's too dull, it takes too much energy to break the stone initially. Okay? That sort of thing. So the way you're abrading or not abrading makes a big difference. Another thing where you're losing too much energy is not hitting hard enough. Pretty simple. Another reason, your tools are absorbing too much energy. They're absorbing the energy because of the properties of the tools. Like wood, if you're using wood as a mallet, it's going to absorb a lot more energy in the strike against your indirect percussion tool than, let's say, a metal or an antler or a stone. Wood absorbs energy. You have to use either a bigger piece of wood or more force, or both, to make up for this absorption of energy. Okay? Another thing that you can control is the tool tip is either pitted, contaminated in some way, or weak. So the tip of the tool, your percussion tool, is not adequate in some way. Right? And there are other very subtle factors. And some might say, okay, what about the angles? The way you can tell if you got the angle correct is if you pretend you're going to use pressure. Right? Pretend that you're going to use a big old fat pressure flaker and set up your workpiece and your tool like you're going to use pressure. Those are the angles you use for percussion, on indirect percussion. Okay? Same thing. Just indirect percussion uses more force, but the angles are the same. Okay? You can picture it that way. Now, if you are not good at pressure flaking, practice pressure flaking first. All right? Most guys pick up pressure flaking really fast, and then they transfer over to percussion, and they get all lost because they're not using the same angles. It's the same angles as pressure. You're basically getting the same flake, just using power in a different way. You can get the same flakes with pressure that you're getting with percussion. You can get the same exact flakes. There's an overlap. There might be some differences in how you can get pressure flakes, and there might be some differences that are unique to percussion. Some pressure flakes are unique to pressure, and some percussion flakes are unique to percussion. But there is some overlap. That overlap is what you're using when you're judging the angles. So maybe sometimes it's not going to work quite right. Just adjust it slightly from the angles that you are accustomed to with pressure. Okay. All right. Number 4. You might have a physical and or mental handicap. I will not get into that. The physical stuff is pretty obvious. You might have a broken bone in your hand. You might have a sore shoulder. You might have problems with your back, eyesight problems, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Just keep that in mind. Improve everything. If you have bad eyesight, if you need something like this, put on your reader glasses and increase the amount of light in your shop if it's too dim. Just get those out of the way. Get all the physical handicaps out of the way. Mental handicaps, I won't get into that. All right. Last but not least, you're not understanding that you are getting long flakes, but not in the way you think you should be getting them. All right? What that means is you could be getting the longest flakes that you possibly can with the method you're using. You just don't think you're getting long flakes, or you're not getting the flakes you want. You're not understanding that the tools and the methods you're using are producing good results, but not the results that you're wanting. You have to change, in that case, change your tools. You've already reached the capacity of your tools. Change the tools. All right? Now, I put that last. It's not least, but I put it last because this is the most difficult one to understand, and it will take you probably years to figure this out. So don't worry about that part too much. Okay? Just concentrate on the fact that the most important obstacle to long flakes is bad stone. The next is your lack of practice. The third is all those things I mentioned that you need to control. And I can put those in a list down below. Okay? So hopefully that helps. I've been getting a lot of questions on this kind of stuff lately. So I thought I'd make a separate video. Alrighty, that's it.